Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. For years, Braylon had harbored a secret passion for crossdressing. The feel of soft fabrics against his skin, the way makeup could transform his features. It all held an irresistible allure. But fear of judgment kept this part of himself locked away, only indulged in the privacy of his own home. A sharp knock at the front door startled him from his reverie. Hastily shoving the clothes back into their hiding place, Braylon smoothed his rumpled t-shirt and jeans before answering.
Hey man, ready for guys' night?
Gunnar's booming voice filled the small apartment as he strode inside, a six-pack of beer tucked under one arm.
Yeah, just give me a sec,
Braylon replied, hoping his friend hadn't noticed his flustered state. As they settled onto the worn couch, cracking open cold beers, Gunnar fixed Braylon with an appraising look. You seem tense. Everything okay? Braylon took a long swig, buying time. Just work stress, he lied, avoiding eye contact. Gunnar wasn't buying it.
Come on, I've known you since college. Something's up.
The beer, combined with Gunnar's concerned expression, loosened Braylon's tongue. Before he could stop himself, words tumbled out. I like to dress up in women's clothes sometimes. I just enjoy how it makes me feel. Please don't hate me. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the soft hum of the refrigerator. Braylon's heart pounded, regret and fear warring in his chest. To his surprise, Gunnar merely shrugged. That's it?
Dude, I thought you were going to tell me you killed someone or something. Who cares what clothes you wear?
Relief washed over Braylon, tension draining from his shoulders.
You really don't mind? Nah, man, you do you.
Gunnar paused, a mischievous glint appearing in his eye.
Actually, I just had an idea. How'd you like to make some easy money?
Braylon eyed his friend warily.
What kind of idea?
Gunnar leaned forward, grinning.
My cousin's bachelorette party is next weekend. They need someone to play a prank on the bride. Pretend to be her fiancé's mistress. I bet you'd be perfect for it, and they're willing to pay $250. Are you crazy? Braylon sputtered. I can't go out in public dressed as a woman. Why not? You said you enjoy it, right? And it's not like anyone there will know who you really are?
Gunnar's enthusiasm was infectious.
Come on, it'll be fun. When's the last time you did something truly adventurous?
Braylon hesitated, torn between fear and a growing sense of excitement. The thought of stepping out into the world as his hidden self was both terrifying and thrilling, and $250 was nothing to scoff at.
Fine, he said finally, but you owe me big time if this goes wrong.
The week leading up to the bachelorette party passed in a blur of preparation. Gunnar, proving himself a surprisingly supportive friend, helped Braylon assemble the perfect outfit and practice his feminine mannerisms. They spent hours in front of the mirror, perfecting Braylon's makeup technique and practicing walking in heels. As the big night approached, Braylon found himself growing more excited than anxious. There was a freedom in knowing he'd be among strangers, able to fully embrace this part of himself without fear of judgment from those who knew him. The evening of the party arrived, and Braylon stood before his full-length mirror, barely recognizing the person staring back at him. A flowing red dress hugged his carefully padded curves, while expertly applied makeup softened his features. A long brunette wig completed the transformation. Damn, Gunnar whistled appreciatively from the doorway. If I didn't know better, I'd totally hit on you. Braylon rolled his eyes, but couldn't suppress a pleased smile. Let's just get this over with. The drive to the party venue, a trendy downtown bar, was nerve-wracking. Braylon kept fidgeting with his dress, paranoid that someone would see through his disguise. Gunnar's steady stream of encouragement helped calm his nerves.
Remember,
Gunnar said as they pulled up to the bar,
your name is Brianna. You're supposed to make a scene, accuse the bride of stealing her man, then dramatically storm out. The maid of honor will give you the cue. You've got this!
Taking a deep breath, Braylon stepped out of the car. The click of his heels on the pavement sent a thrill through him. This was really happening. Inside the bar, the bachelorette party was in full swing. A group of women, all wearing matching Team Bride shirts, were clustered around a table laden with gifts and cocktails. Braylon hung back, waiting for his cue. A petite blonde, whom he assumed was the maid of honor, caught his eye and nodded. Showtime. Squaring his shoulders, Braylon strode towards the group, channeling every ounce of righteous anger he could muster. Is that her? Is that the woman who stole my man? The party fell silent, all eyes turning to the newcomer in the red dress. The bride-to-be, a pretty redhead, looked bewildered. I'm sorry, do I know you?
Don't play dumb with me.
Braylon's voice rose dramatically.
I know all about your little affair with Derek. He promised me we'd be together.
Gasps and murmurs rippled through the group. The bride's face flushed bright red.
There must be some mistake. Derek would never.
Save it, honey, Braylon interrupted, secretly thrilled at how convincingly he was pulling this off.
I hope you're happy together. With that, he spun on his heel and stormed out of the bar, leaving chaos in his wake. Once outside, he leaned against the wall, heart pounding with exhilaration. He'd done it. Gunnar appeared a moment later, grinning from ear to ear. That was amazing. You should have seen their faces when you left. The maid of honor is going to bring your payment out in a minute.
Before Braylon could reply, a group of young men rounded the corner, clearly already deep into their own night of celebration. One of them, a tall guy with spiky blonde hair, let out an appreciative whistle as he spotted Braylon.
Well, hello, beautiful,
he slurred, sidling up to Braylon. What's a gorgeous thing like you doing out here all alone? Panic seized Braylon. He hadn't prepared for this scenario.
I'm just waiting for my ride,
he stammered, trying to pitch his voice higher. The guy leaned in closer, alcohol heavy on his breath.
Why don't you let me give you a ride instead? I promise it'll be more fun.
Gunnar stepped in, positioning himself between Braylon and the drunk guy.
Sorry, man, she's spoken for. Time for you to move along.
For a tense moment, it seemed like the guy might argue, but his friends, sensing potential trouble, steered him away with a chorus of apologies. Once they were gone, Braylon let out a shaky breath.
Thanks for the save. I didn't know what to do.
Gunnar clapped him on the shoulder. No problem, but maybe we should get out of here before anything else happens. Just then, the maid of honor emerged from the bar, an envelope in hand. That was perfect, she gushed, pressing the envelope into Braylon's hands. The bride was so shocked, it was hilarious. Thank you so much. As they drove home, the envelope containing $250 safely tucked in Braylon's purse, and comfortable silence fell between them. Finally, Gunnar spoke up. So, was it worth it? Braylon considered the question. Despite the moments of fear and awkwardness, he couldn't deny the rush he'd felt. For one night, he'd been able to fully embrace a part of himself he usually kept hidden. It had been terrifying, exhilarating, and oddly freeing. Yeah, he said softly. Yeah, it was. Gunnar grinned.
Good, because my other cousin is getting married next month, and I might have volunteered you for their bachelor party.
Braylon groaned, but couldn't hide his smile. Something told him this was just the beginning of a whole new adventure. In the weeks that followed, Braylon found himself reflecting often on that night. The experience had awakened something in him, a desire to explore this aspect of himself further, but also a newfound confidence in his ability to navigate challenging situations. He began venturing out more often, starting small with quick trips to the corner store dressed in his feminine attire. Each successful outing bolstered his courage, and soon he was spending entire afternoons exploring the city as his alter ego, reveling in the freedom to express himself without fear of recognition. Gunnar, true to his word, continued to be a steadfast support. He accompanied Braylon on some of these excursions, offering both protection and encouragement. Their friendship deepened as they shared this secret, forging a bond of trust and acceptance that neither had experienced before. One sunny Saturday, about a month after the bachelorette party incident, Braylon decided to take a bold step. Dressed in a flowy sundress and wide-brimmed hat, he suggested they visit a local art gallery he'd always wanted to see, but had been too nervous to enter as himself. As they strolled through the gallery, admiring the vibrant paintings and sculptures, Braylon felt a sense of peace wash over him. Here, surrounded by beauty and self-expression, he felt truly at home in his own skin. Their peaceful afternoon took an unexpected turn when they rounded a corner and came face to face with Braylon's co-worker, Mark. Time seemed to stand still as recognition dawned in Mark's eyes, his gaze flicking between Braylon's face and outfit. Panic gripped Braylon, his mind racing through potential excuses or escape routes. But before he could act, Gunnar smoothly stepped in.
"Hi there,"
he said cheerfully, extending his hand to Mark. "I'm Gunnar, and this is my friend Brianna. Are you enjoying the exhibit?" Mark hesitated for a moment, confusion evident on his face. But social conditioning kicked in, and he shook Gunnar's hand.
"Nice to meet you both. I'm Mark.
The exhibit is fantastic, isn't it?" As Gunnar engaged Mark in conversation about the artwork, Braylon's racing heart slowly began to calm. He even managed to contribute a few comments, pitching his voice slightly higher than usual. After a few minutes of pleasant small talk, Mark excused himself to continue his tour. As he walked away, Braylon let out a shaky breath. "That was close," he whispered. Gunnar squeezed his shoulder reassuringly. "You handled it like a pro. Want to head out?" But Braylon shook his head, a determined glint in his eye. "No, I want to finish looking at the exhibit. I'm not going to let fear dictate my life anymore." As they continued through the gallery, Braylon felt a weight lifting from his shoulders. He'd faced one of his biggest fears, being recognized while dressed as a woman, and survived. The world hadn't ended. If anything, he felt stronger for having gone through it. That evening, as they sat on Braylon's couch, rehashing the day's events over pizza and beer, Gunnar broached a subject that had been on his mind.
"You know,"
he said carefully,
"you seem so much happier and more confident when you're dressed up. Have you ever thought about, making it a more regular thing? Or even transitioning?"
Braylon was quiet for a long moment, considering the question.
"I've thought about it," he admitted. "But I don't think that's the right path for me. I enjoy expressing this side of myself, but I'm also comfortable with who I am as a man. I think I'm just fluid, I guess. I want the freedom to express all aspects of myself without having to choose one or the other." Gunnar nodded thoughtfully. "That makes sense. And for what it's worth, I think you're brave as hell for embracing who you are, whatever form that takes."
The conversation shifted to lighter topics, but Braylon found himself mulling over Gunnar's words long into the night. He realized that this journey of self-discovery was far from over. There would be more challenges to face, more boundaries to push. But for the first time in his life, he felt truly equipped to handle whatever came his way. Over the next few months, Braylon's double life began to feel less like a secret and more like an integrated part of who he was. He started attending trans meetups, finding a community of people who understood and celebrated gender nonconformity in all its forms. He even worked up the courage to tell his parents, bracing for rejection, but instead receiving tentative acceptance and a lot of questions. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start, and Braylon felt lighter for having shared his truth with them. At work, he remained in male attire, but found small ways to express his feminine side, a subtle touch of mascara here, a floral shirt there. To his surprise, few people seemed to notice or care. Those who did often complimented his style, boosting his confidence further. As autumn approached, bringing with it crisp air and falling leaves, Braylon found himself facing a new challenge. The company he worked for was hosting a Halloween party, and costumes were strongly encouraged. After much deliberation, he decided to take a risk. On the night of the party, Braylon arrived dressed as Audrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's, little black dress, elbow-length gloves, and an elegant updo. His heart pounded as he entered the venue, but he held his head high, channeling Audrey's grace and poise. The reactions were mixed. Some co-workers did double takes, others pretended not to notice. A few offered genuine compliments on his costume. Mark, the co-worker from the art gallery, gave him a knowing smile and a thumbs up. As the night wore on, Braylon found himself relaxing, even enjoying the novelty of being openly dressed as a woman among people who knew him as a man. He danced, laughed, and mingled, feeling more like himself than he ever had at a work function. Towards the end of the evening, his boss approached him. Braylon tensed, preparing for the worst. But instead of criticism, she offered praise. "I have to say, Braylon, I'm impressed," she said. "It takes guts to come to a work event dressed like that, and you pull it off beautifully. I hope this means you'll feel comfortable expressing yourself more freely at the office." Overwhelmed with emotion, Braylon could only nod. It wasn't until later, recounting the evening to Gunnar over their traditional post-event beers, that he fully processed what had happened. "I can't believe it," he marveled. "All this time I was so afraid of people finding out, of losing my job or being ostracized. But it turns out most people either don't care or are actually supportive." Gunnar raised his bottle in a toast.
"Here's to living authentically, my friend."
"You've come a long way from that nervous guy I convinced to crash a bachelorette party." As they clinked bottles, Braylon felt a profound sense of gratitude for Gunnar's unwavering support, for the journey of self-discovery he'd been on, and for the courage he'd found within himself to live life on his own terms. The future was still uncertain, full of potential challenges and discoveries. But Braylon felt ready to face it all, secure in the knowledge that he was finally free to be his true self, in all its complex, beautiful forms. As winter settled in, bringing with it holiday cheer and end-of-year reflections, Braylon found himself in a place he never thought possible. His wardrobe had expanded to include a mix of traditionally masculine and feminine clothing, which he wore interchangeably depending on his mood and the occasion. His co-workers had largely accepted this change with minimal fuss, and he'd even started mentoring a younger employee who was struggling with their own gender identity. One chilly December evening, as snowflakes drifted past the windows of his apartment, Braylon sat at his desk, pen poised over a blank journal page. He'd decided to write a letter to his past self, the scared, closeted person he'd been just a year ago.
"Dear Braylon," he began, the words flowing easily. "I know you're afraid. Afraid of being judged, of losing friends and family, of not fitting in anywhere. But I want you to know that it gets better. So much better than you could ever imagine. There will be challenges, yes, moments of doubt and fear, but there will also be joy, acceptance, and a sense of freedom you've never known before. You'll discover the strength within yourself to face your fears head on. You'll find allies in unexpected places and build a community that loves and supports you for exactly who you are. Most importantly, you'll learn that being true to yourself isn't just about what you wear or how you look. It's about allowing all parts of yourself to coexist and flourish. It's about embracing the complexity of your identity and refusing to be confined by society's expectations. The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Trust in yourself, lean on your friends, and never be afraid to express who you truly are. You've got this. Love the future you." As Braylon set down his pen, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. The person he'd been a year ago would hardly recognize him now, not because of how he dressed, but because of the confidence and self-assurance he now carried. A knock at the door roused him from his reflections. It was Gunnar, right on time for their weekly movie night. As Braylon let him in, he noticed his friend was carrying a gift-wrapped package. "What's this?" Braylon asked, eyeing the parcel curiously. Gunnar grinned. "Early Christmas present. Open it." Inside the box, Braylon found a beautiful hand-knitted sweater. One half was a rich masculine blue with a geometric pattern, while the other half was a soft pink with delicate floral designs. The two styles blended seamlessly in the middle, creating a unique and striking garment. "I had it custom-made," Gunnar explained. "I thought it represented you perfectly, both sides of your personality coming together as one."
Touched beyond words, Braylon hugged his friend tightly.
"It's perfect," he managed finally. "Thank you, not just for this, but for everything. I couldn't have made it through this year without you."
As they settled in for their movie, Braylon wearing his new sweater proudly, he felt a profound sense of contentment. The journey of self-discovery he'd embarked on had led him to this moment, surrounded by acceptance, comfortable in his own skin, and excited for whatever the future might hold. He'd started the year hiding a part of himself away, afraid of the consequences of being true to who he was. He was ending it, fully embracing all aspects of his identity, supported by friends, family, and colleagues who valued him for his authentic self. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.